Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, he lived by the sea and got a big career boost at WrestleMania 3 when he faced Randy Savage for the IC, the workhorse title that many respected, yes indeed. And Georgie Animal Steel helped Ricky. When all looked lost, Ricky rolled up Randy for the 3, and he won the title known as IC in front of many thousands of fans, but not 93. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite, where holy fucking shit, they realized, damn it, we don't have a lot of time until AEW All Out. Put the pedal to the metal and we're just going to go all out, literally, because they just absolutely threw everything at this goddamn show, and especially in the first hour. What a first hour that was. And then, but nevertheless, there's going to be some positive talk in this review. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. I may have a few criticisms, and some people may not like them, but then again, I'm just a wrestling fan, sharing my opinions. But boy, that fucking first hour. Charleston, West Virginia, and yes, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was there because House of the Dragon, some spin-off thing from Game of Thrones. I have not seen one goddamn solitary episode of Game of Thrones, and I have no intentions of ever seeing Game of Thrones. It just never appealed me. Nevertheless, it was really goddamn popular. But yes, Charleston, West Virginia, shrieking Jim Crockett promotion noises. JR Excalibur and Tony Schiavone, along with Taz, on commentary. And then they had other commentators, because we need more goddamn commentators. Look, have JR do the second hour. Actually, I'm glad he did the first hour here, because only he could add to these big moments that they really, really did a great job at building. This was some great fucking pro wrestling shit. This reminded me of peak Nitro, just peak wrestling in general. This was really, really good shit. When Tony Khan gets things right and just lets people go out there and do what they do best, and that's be athletes and tell stories, this is some great goddamn shit, regardless of what company you're a fan of. This was really, really good stuff. So, look in my eyes, what do you see? It's CM Punk return. I don't really have a way to rhyme that, but CM Punk. He's back. He talks about missing the fans. He talks about the belt. And he says that, well, there are some people that he wants to talk to. He wants to talk to somebody that's nearby. Hangman Adam Page. And he doesn't come out. Hangman Page either wasn't there or was just busy. And they said, Hangman, don't go out. We got to build this whole thing. Build this potential rematch. And he says, that's not cowboy shit. That's coward shit. And it's time to do some champ shit. I'm not going to try and encompass this whole promo because CM Punk is one of the best promos still. He talks about Moxley and that he has his number. That Jon Moxley is the third best guy in his group, and that seems to be a recurring theme in his career and his life. Ooh, scandalous. Sadly, he's not wrong. He's not wrong about being the third best guy in the group, even though the, Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield was a great trio. They certainly weren't the most revolutionary trio, but then again, all three are doing really well, and Moxley's doing really well. If he would just stop fucking bleeding and doing all the weapon stuff and actually focus on wrestling, which he can do, his matches would be more enjoyable. They wouldn't blend together. He's willing to test himself. He's not even willing to test himself against his best friend, who is the third best Eddie I've been in the ring with, and the second best Kingston I've shared a locker room with. God damn. Kofi Kingston's looking like, why am I here? Why am I being involved in this? But it was pretty funny. And they just cooled off Eddie Kingston. That's not knocking CM Punk. That's knocking creative. And that he wants to, basically, he wants competition. He wants to sell this with Jon Moxley. And he won't be the first John that I've beaten in Chicago. And he certainly won't be the best John I've beaten in Chicago. Good fucking grief. And then, wild thing, you make Charleston sing. And CM Punk decides to, joke around saying, I've got some time until he gets here, so I'm going to make Snow Angels. And he even starts singing along to Wild Thing. It's a great rendition of Wild Thing. And here's Mox. Now, Mox did some good stuff here, because Mox is an excellent talker. He, has been through hell. He put himself through hell and admits that, and he's better now. He's healthier for it, and that's great, after going to rehab and everything and being gone for a few months. Look, CM Punk is dropping pipe bombs and talks about, well, the real world, and Rob Thomas still wishes that would stop hassling him. but nevertheless, enough old song references. He says, all this stuff, it doesn't mean shit. You're writing checks that your body can't cash. Even, steps down on the foot. Steps his own foot down, that is. And talks about, more shit bombs. Okay, I don't care about swearing. You can swear as much as you damn well want. I'll fucking swear how much ever, but it does start to lose its meaning when it's on a television show. And we all know that you came here, Punk, because you're out of money. I don't think that's the case. I think he came back. He definitely came back for money. He came back because why the fuck not? Because Tony Khan was going to throw him a shit pot full of money, and also because he's been able to do some of the best work of his career because he's been having some goddamn fun. And talks about all the other stuff, and they basically come, nose to nose, and they end up brawling, and we get officials and security guards, and all these people out here, they're trying to separate, we get to pull apart, let them fight, let them fight, let them fight. They do this a few times. This was great. This was great shit. Encourage you guys to check out this opening if you haven't already. It's really, really fucking good. And they built this for AEW All Out. About that. So we go to a card rundown, and then we go to Stark's recaps, and then we go to Shivani with Powerhouse Hobbs, where he says, well, I don't need any friends. And Ricky, you told the world that you were just fine with losing, and that he was, that he was hired to protect Ricky and everything, and that he doesn't need Ricky anymore, but Ricky needs him. And gee, I believe I called it that, Hobbs was going to be upset that Ricky was always losing and everything, losing these big matches. It didn't quite go that far, but it was close enough that I'm just going to call it. But it makes sense. It's logical. And then he says something about the factory. Who cares about the fucking factory? No disrespect to any of the talents. Nobody cares about that quartet. So Ricky Steamboat is a special timekeeper because why the fuck not? He's 69 years old. Nice. So Chris Jericho's on commentary, and look, Chris Jericho, when it was the beginning of the pandemic and he was at least adding and having fun, him and Shivani were having fun, and even occasional appearances after that, sort of worked. Now it's just him screeching and trying to get himself over, and it's not very good. So Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson, 2 out of 3 falls match. And even though, while I understand what they were doing with the Dynamite main event a couple weeks ago, while I get what they were trying to do, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Daniel Garcia beating him wasn't the worst. I think that they paced it a little bit wrong, but that being said, it was still a well enough told story that 2 out of 3 falls makes sense. And I have one thing to say about this match. What a fucking deal. One of the best matches that Dynamite's put on in quite a while. Really, really fucking good. This is given at least 25 minutes. They told a great story. Garcia kept attacking him. Good submissions to start. Garcia kept attacking the head. Did some dragon sleeper stuff. Danielson did get upset when Garcia kept angering him with a volley of repeated strokes of the head. And anytime you have another man repeatedly stroking your head and you keep asking him for more, you keep asking him for harder, and he doesn't hit you hard enough, you have to get upset at him. I lost my train of thought. Let's get back to the match. Basically what they're doing is, doing some good exchanges, a triangle trap, but that gets turned into the Dragon Tamer, which is the Scorpion variation that he does. And then he gets a Dragon Sleeper on with an arm trap. Garcia is really, really good at wrestling. For being that young, he is really, really good. I think that they're featuring him a little bit too much, but that being said, at least they have some faith in him, and he has been able to rise up and be a pretty good talent. First fall goes to Daniel Garcia. The crowd boos. Bryan's on defense. We get a DDT on the floor. Bryan starts bleeding. We get kicks aplenty. Actual kicks, not super kicks, because these are kicks that actually land and actually look like wrestling because they're from wrestlers, unlike the super kick party fellows. More on that later. So we get the Dragon Sleeper again, but that gets turned into a roll-up by Bryan Danielson. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 1. And then some other good stuff. Really, really good back and forth here after this. This had 3 fucking ad breaks. 3 fucking ad breaks. Insane good. There was a near count out. Then we go to the break. And then we get some head kicking. We get some strikes. We get some more volleys, repeated strokes of the head. Who doesn't love seeing that? We get a 25 fucking minute match. A label lock eventually Daniel Garcia passes out. Good stuff. We get to show respect because, even though, and I like the dragon inspired type tights that Garcia was wearing. Nice callback to Stunning Steve Austin when he faced off against Ricky Steamboat. And Ricky Steamboat right there as the guest timekeeper. And they do another spot with Steamboat a little bit later. Jericho attacks Danielson, and Garcia stops him. And we get loud, and I mean loud Garcia chants. That's like, the fans were molten hot to want him to turn. Just fucking turn. You're a wrestler. They're chanting that. They got something here with Garcia. Now, don't put the pedal to the metal too goddamn hard, but given how good he is, they got something here. He might be one of the pillars. Hell, if the whole thing with MJF doesn't end up working out, he might replace MJF as one of the pillars. We will see. But Jericho's upset. Shivani's then interviewing Swerve in Our Glory, and them and Private Party are going to have a match on Rampage. Private Party. Remember when they could have been a good team, and they've been marginalized ever since? So Moxley then attacks Tony Nese for what Tony Nese is worth to his company, which, no offense against the man himself, it's not much. And CM Punk gets called out. He says, let's just sell this right now. Let's unify these titles right now. I don't want to wait for this match to be over. Big Paula Cole fan, John Moxley. He might be. I don't fucking know. Here's CM Punk. Claudio shows up and just picks up Moxley because Claudio's a natural moose of an athlete. Just can pick up somebody and, no, you will not do this. And then Shivani's backstage with Jericho and 2.0 or whatever their fucking names are. I don't care. Whose side are you on, Garcia? I want to talk to you next week. And then Ricky Steamboat chops one of the member. I think Parker. I don't fucking care because now I don't give a shit about 2.0. Varsity Blondes lost to the Gun Club with Billy Gunn. Oh, Billy. In like a minute and maybe not even that. Colt 45 on Griff Garrison 1, 2, 3. Billy says, I'm proud of you guys. And then here's Stokely. I thought somebody lost their child or whatever, and they were going to have to come claim him. And then I realized, well, Stokely isn't tall enough to actually be claimed in the lost children area. Nevertheless, enough of that. The Ass Boys suddenly attack him. The Gun Club attack their dad. No, how dare you? The Acclaim come down. And then we get the Scissor Me Daddy Ass thing. Because why the fuck not? And there you go. Okay, that's pretty much it. We get more scissoring between the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think Billy Gunn's going to be doing that many more on-camera appearances. He's been wrestling 30 years? He's been wrestling for quite a while. I mean, I don't remember if he started in the early 90s or the late 80s, but he's been wrestling a long time. But that being said, Scissor Me Daddy Ass, I mean, what the hell? Why not laugh at people scissoring each other? So, then we get a pre-tape on Lethal, Dutt, and Giant Silva Jr. They won a trios match with Wardlow and FTR at All Out. And then Giant Silva Jr. says, powerbomb me if you're strong enough. I'm sure the guy means well, but this is stupid. Dutt also is being way, way, way too cartoonish with this. And I understand that he's trying to be comical. Well, saying, oh, my team's the best, but it just sounds like Scrappy-Doo. And I like Dutt. I think Sanjay Dutt's a very good talent. He's a great talent in the ring, knows a lot of shit, and there's a way to do this, and I don't think they're doing it the right way. Also, Jay Lethal. I haven't been given a reason to care about Jay Lethal for a while. So, here's Death Triangle backstage, and Pac talks about Ospreay, who, as I'm recording this, is going to challenge Kazuchika Okada for the right to face off against Jay Whito at Wrestle Kingdom in the main event. And that's certainly going to be a very, very divisive, choice if they go with Ospreay. But then again, by the time you see this review, that may already be happening, but I'll be reviewing that after I wake up after this. Nevertheless, so Tarzan Boy and Jungle Boy gets a huge pop. He says, I can't wear this shirt, whereas Christian's the biggest pussy I've ever met. And he says he's tried to beat him up. He's tried to use his fist. He's tried to fist him. He's tried to hit him with a car. He's tried to hit him in a bar, and yet here you are. So, how about you face me up? How about you man up and face me at All Out? Christian says no. Christian says Luchasaurus is suspended because he headbutted an AEW official. That was Pat Buck, the ginger-haired fellow, just in case you're wondering. meaning Luchasaurus is going to show up and he's going to cost Jungle Boy the match. If he doesn't cost him the match, I will be very amazed. But Christian says, I want to fix this. And then Christian gets beat up for that jacket alone. And then we get some bad step spots where it looks like Christian was really getting rammed in there at a couple points. Sometimes he wasn't at all, and the camera was blatantly catching it. And other times, FTR and Wardlow, they accept the challenge. And then Wardlow says, anybody and then everybody can get powerbombed. And fangirls and many fanboys said, okay, how about me next? So Toni Storm took on Kylan King. I like Kylan King. Very talented. And I love Toni Storm. Met her at an indie show about 4 years ago. So happy for her success. And this match was fine. Kylan King has definitely improved. She's had some time on the NWA show. At least what clips I've seen. I haven't bothered to review NWA in a year. And evidently nobody else has bothered to watch the NWA, judging by the fact Tyrus is in the main event. But nevertheless, Kylan King has been doing some good stuff. Toni Storm used a move called Sweet Cheeks Music, the butt bump in the corner, and got the victory with the pendulum DDT. That being said, Kylan King had a decent enough showing here with some good fire. And then Thunder Rosa was watching backstage, watching TV like a normal human. And I love Thunder Rosa. What a fucking talent. Best Friends and Trustbusters pre-taped for a match on Rampage in the Trios tournament. And then Penelope versus Athena. Penelope Ford is back. Okay, good for her. Claudio Speaks. Hook versus Zach Clayton. Zach Clayton's had some good showings on Dark and Dark Elevation, so let's see how that match goes. And then Swerve in Our Glory versus Private Party. All out. Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. Give those women 15 fucking minutes. They're going to steal the goddamn show. They're going to have one of the best matches of the year. Let them fucking go at it. Don't have Britt Baker, Rebel, or Jamie Hayter interfere. Don't have any interference. Have it be clean, straight up. Have Toni Storm turn heel afterwards. I don't goddamn care. Just let these two women tear it up like only they can. And then for Dynamite in Cleveland. Hello, Cleveland. Death Triangle versus Ospreay and Aussie Open. Dax versus Lethal. Punk versus Moxley already. If that doesn't have a disputed finish, I'll be amazed. Now, what I think is going to happen is Punk will win, and then MJF will show back up. And then you're going to have that match. Or Danielson versus Punk to give Punk a big win on pay-per-view, and then MJF shows up and stares down Punk or beats him up in Chicago, and then we build to that match at Full Gear. I think let's lean towards Danielson, because Danielson versus Punk, even at this stage of their careers and their lives, yes, please. If Punk doesn't win, I will be amazed. I'm shocked they're already hot-shotting that. That's a little bit surprising. So Andrade, El Olio, and Rush, along with Dragon Lee, they make their entrance. Here come the Bucks, and oh look, Kenny's back in a sling and a compression shirt because he came back way too soon. Unfortunately, that also means Don Callis is here. Let me just say right now that I don't really care if anybody is upset by what I say about this. I've never cared for Omega. I don't wish ill upon him. I don't care for the Elite. I definitely don't care for Don Scarlet Fever Callis, the man that loves to have NDA signed because he's a goddamn lecherous creeper piece of shit who saw Kenny Omega in an indie show when he was 10 or 11 years old and saw potential in him. That is gross. That is gross. Then again, Don Callis is a really gross son of a bitch and also doesn't add anything to commentary. So, the crowd goes insane for Kenny Omega. There are people that like Kenny Omega. There are people that do not like Kenny Omega. I am in the other camp because his best matches were against Okada. I don't think that Omega is he's definitely not the god of pro wrestling like Don Callis says. If people really like Kenny Omega, if you think Kenny Omega is one of the best, if not the best in the world, great. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't. All right, so Nakazawa's there. He has no business being an on-screen character in AEW. So Andrade, El Olio, Rush, and Dragon Lee took on the Elite. This is the quarterfinal match in the Trios Championship Tournament. So remember the tornado tag that you saw with the Lucha Bros and Andrade, El Olio, and Rush? Congratulations, add two more. Have Rick Knox look the other way, so basically it's the same as a goddamn tornado tag because Rick Knox is one of the worst referees in fucking history. Good fucking God. I understand that when he refereed King Tut's match, because that's about how old he fucking looks, he looked the other way when people decide to throw a cap in the goddamn ring. Meow! The caps are the guardians of the underworld. The Mummy, with better writing than this. Look, I'm sorry. I ain't care. I ain't care about this. Because with a mess of moves, you're going to get the same old bullshit between the elite members. And look, Omega, did he come back too soon? Was he just selling like he really was hurt? A little from column A, a little from column B, as Grandpa Simpson once said. If Omega is really that hurt, if he is really that hurt, this is his last hurrah, and this is a way to maintain or to limit his workload and maintain what little bit of, like time he has left in the ring. Or he's just overselling. I mean, I don't really care because his match was a goddamn mess with just a bunch of moves. Some people will say it was one of the best matches of the year, and that's fine if you like that style of match. I didn't. And it was just a goddamn mess. At one point, Dragon Lee crashes on a goddamn dive because Dragon Lee is very, very talented. He has done a lot in his short, or, well, not even short career, but in his time in the ring. He's only 27 goddamn years old. Great stuff in New Japan, great stuff in CMLL, and he is is it AAA? Is it AAA? I think it's triple. I don't. You know what? I don't fucking remember anymore. I don't remember which one he works for. I do apologize right there. But nevertheless, he's done some great stuff, especially just in the Best of Super Juniors and the time he had in New Japan. But he crashed on that freaking dive. Omega did the one-wing angel, the Sephiroth special, Sephiroth, and got the victory, and there you go. It was a match that was given a whole lot of time, and look, it'll mean something to Kenny and the Bucks when they win the Trios Championships. If they don't win, I will be very fucking amazed. People liked it, that's great. People liked the fact that he came back, great. I don't care. I didn't miss Kenny Omega when he was gone. I won't miss it when he's off TV again. Again, I do not wish ill upon the guy, but if he was off TV permanently after middle of next year, it would mean we wouldn't have to hear from Don fucking Callis, who is one of the worst abominations to ever be included in professional wrestling. And I would say that somebody should try to rip his heart out, but that would require him to have a heart. He doesn't have a fucking heart. He's just a piece of shit. Dragon Lee then gets unmasked and DDT'd by Andrade, and then that's it. So the show actually was pretty good for the first hour. It wasn't necessarily awful after that, but this main event was just a mess. It was right back to being typical AEW with the Elite, too sweet, having their goddamn, fun and everything, and doing what they call wrestling, but it's not fucking wrestling. Anyway, agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Reckland. I'll see you soon.